Every time you touch money, you touch your beliefs. Every time your fingers graze a coin, a card, a crumpled note in your pocket, the truth of your frequency is revealed. Do you flinch? Do you brace? Do you whisper fear without even knowing it? Because money hears you. It listens, not to your words, but to the vibration underneath them. So we're going to shift it today, right now, with a new command, a new voice, a new identity. Because the version of you who multiplies money doesn't treat it like a stranger. She touches it with reverence. He receives it like a prophecy fulfilled. They command it like a divine partner, not a missing piece. So let's begin where the shift begins, with your hands, your breath, your thoughts, and your instructions. Say this: every time you touch money, I touch wealth and it responds. I hold abundance and it multiplies. I give with confidence, I receive with grace. I expect a return that exceeds the release. Breathe. You are not just making a statement, you are adjusting your frequency. Every dollar you hold is a seed. It wants to grow, but seeds do not bloom in fear. They bloom in certainty. They bloom in joy. They bloom in the warmth of someone who knows. So when you touch money, touch it like someone who knows. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture the last time you paid a bill. Were you calm? Were you tight? Were you secretly hoping you'd have enough after? Now imagine this instead. You press your thumb on a payment screen and say out loud, every dollar that leaves returns with friends. My money serves me and I serve the source. That's a shift. That's magnetic. That's divine financial strategy, not just spiritual fluff. And money hears it. Let's break the old response pattern. Because most people touch money and say, is this enough? Where did it all go? Why does this always happen? Every time you touch money in fear, you write a script your subconscious memorizes. You are teaching yourself to feel unsafe with money. But now, you're teaching yourself something new, that you were never meant to fear money. You were meant to command it, in alignment. You are not chasing money, you are leading it. Say this out loud, right now. I touch money, and it awakens. I bless it with purpose. I multiply it with intention. I honor what I have, and I invite what's next. Say it again, slower. Let the words coat your tongue like honey. I touch money, and it awakens. I bless it with purpose. I multiply it with intention. I honor what I have, and I invite what's next. Let your nervous system adjust. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench, because this is how you become a money match. Not by working harder, not by hoping louder, but by handling money like someone who believes in overflow. If this message is already creating a shift in your body, that's not random, that's resonance. If you feel safer already, subscribe. This channel is not for the hustle-driven, it's for the divinely led. If this is your frequency, stay. There's more coming. Now, let's go deeper. Because the truth is, most people don't touch money directly anymore. They tap cards, click buttons, swipe apps, so their money feels distant. And that's no accident. The system wants you disconnected from money, because when you're disconnected, you're disempowered, but you're going to touch it again. Physically, energetically, intentionally, touch a note, touch a coin, touch your wallet, and say, I am the power that activates this currency. I am the channel through which it flows. I am the purpose behind the paper. Money is not more powerful than you. You give it power, and starting today, you choose to give it a blessing. Pause. Take your wallet. Hold it like it's sacred, because it is. What you respect expands. Whisper, you are welcome here, and you are safe to stay. Multiply in peace, flow in grace. You're reprogramming your relationship. You're unlearning the panic. You're rebuilding the nervous system of a wealthy soul. One blessing at a time. There's no magic in the words alone. The magic is in the presence. The magic is in how you feel when you say them. That's why we repeat. That's why we breathe between. That's why we pause. So your nervous system can remember what truth feels like. Every time I touch money, I activate a return. I plant a blessing. I remind wealth where to find me. Again, every time I touch money, I activate a return. I plant a blessing. I remind wealth where to find me. Money is not just coming to you, it is being called. And your voice, your intention, your vibration is the call. So call it, not with begging, but with belief. If you want to go beyond inspiration into embodiment, make sure you're subscribed. You don't need more information, you need repetition, rhythm, and reinforcement. That's what this channel is here to give you. Let's go further now, because every time you touch money, you also touch memory. Memories of moments when it ran out, of times when it wasn't enough, of decisions made in panic and blessings missed in fear. But you are not that version anymore. You are not the child who watched the grown-ups whisper stress in the kitchen. You are not the woman who checked her balance before saying yes to lunch. You are not the man who smiled while silently calculating the cost of kindness. You are the healed one, the aligned one, the one who touches money now with awareness, not apology, not anxiety, awareness. And that awareness is the seed of expansion. So breathe deeper, because today you meet money again not as a victim of its absence, but as a guardian of its increase. You say, every time I touch money, I tell a new story. Every time I touch money, I rewrite the fear. Every time I touch money, I plant what I want to grow. Let it settle. Say it again, but with your eyes closed this time. Let your body feel the new sentence forming. I plant what I want to grow. You are not just using affirmations, you are activating instruction, because you are the instruction. You are the instruction money has been waiting for. Do you know why money avoids fear? Because fear creates short circuits. It interrupts the flow. It disconnects the power. When you panic, you close the gate. When you trust, you open it. When you command, you accelerate it. When you doubt, you delay it. And you've delayed enough, haven't you? So now, let this be the season of open gates, of wide hands, of multiplied peace. Say this with intention. Every time I touch money, I feel safety in my spine. I feel joy in my chest. I feel certainty in my breath. And I feel source all around me. Feel that. Not as a fantasy, as a practice. Touch money and choose presence. Because when you're present, you become magnetic, and money obeys magnets. Now imagine this. It's a normal day. You're checking out at the grocery store, or tipping your delivery driver, or transferring funds to a friend. And for one moment, your thumb hovers over the send button and you smile. Because instead of tension, you feel trust. Instead of, what if this hurts? You whisper, this blesses everyone it touches. And you press. That's spiritual obedience. That's energetic sovereignty. That's divine flow. No fear, no loss, just movement. And what moves in trust multiplies in return. There was a time when you thought money had power over you, but today you realize, I am the power that meets the money. I am the instruction behind the income. I am the multiplier behind the moment. Let that truth echo. Say it softly. Say it again. Say it until it feels like it was always yours. If tears rise, let them. If anger bubbles, let it move through. Because sometimes the grief isn't about what money didn't do. It's about how long you believed you weren't worthy of more. But you are. You always were. You were worthy before you knew how to earn. You were worthy before you made your first mistake. You were worthy before the debt, before the overdraft, before the shame, and you are worthy now. Even in your rebuilding, even in your remembering, even in the first breath of this new beginning. So when you touch money, touch it like someone who remembers her worth, who remembers his inheritance, who remembers the rhythm of divine provision. You don't have to get it right. You just have to get in alignment. Alignment with source, with truth, with sufficiency, with the sacred frequency of receiving. So say this, not once, but often. Every time I touch money, I realign, I recalibrate, I remember who I am, not the old story, not the borrowed belief, not the generational script of survival. You are not here to survive money. You are here to steward it. You are not here to tiptoe around abundance. You are here to command it with humility and joy. Feel your palms now, the energy they hold, the unseen vibration they emit, and declare this with conviction. These hands do not tremble around wealth. They welcome it, they bless it, they multiply it in peace. Say it again, slower. These hands do not tremble around wealth. They welcome it, they bless it, they multiply it in peace. Let this become your rhythm, your new subconscious reflex. Every time you touch a card, every time you log into a bank app, every time you accept or give or invest or tip or save, you are not just moving numbers. You are sending a signal, a frequency, a command. And from now on, your command is clarity. Your command is multiplication. Your command is peace. Every time you touch money, you are not just touching currency, you are touching agreement. An agreement you made silently, somewhere in your past. Some of us agreed money was heavy. Some agreed it was scarce. Some were taught it was unspiritual, unclean, unworthy of our desire. And some of us agreed never to out-earn the people we loved because we were afraid of leaving them behind. But agreements can be broken and new ones can be made. So let's make one now, a new agreement, a sacred covenant between you and wealth. Say this, from this moment forward, I agree with increase, I agree with ease, I agree with divine supply, I agree with the growth of all I touch. This is not just a sentence, this is a reversal. This is you unlearning every false belief you inherited without consent. Touching money is now a ceremony, a ritual, a reminder of what you've claimed. And every time you touch it, you renew the vow. You see, the nervous system remembers tension. So every time you braced while opening your bank app, every time you panicked while swiping your card, every time you avoided the payment due, your body recorded that as reality. But now, we're rewriting that memory, and it doesn't require years. It requires rhythm. It requires repetition. It requires feeling new truth until the old truth dissolves. So pause and breathe. Feel your shoulders, feel your spine, feel your feet on the floor. Now, say it. Every time I touch money, I am safe. I am steady. I am supported. Say it as if you already believe it. Say it until your voice believes you. Money is not a measure of your worth. It never was. It is not the scoreboard of your effort. It is not the evidence of your goodness. It is not the reward for being less of yourself. Money is a mirror, a servant, a response, and it responds to how you see yourself when you touch it. So if you see yourself as broke, unworthy, reckless, late, behind, it responds to that. But if you see yourself as chosen, steady, clear, as someone who remembers her source, then money obeys that. So the shift doesn't start in the transaction, it starts in the identity behind it. Say this, every time I touch money, I remember I am sourced, I remember I am chosen. I remember I am not doing this alone, because you're not. Divine supply walks beside you. Overflow sits at your table, and when you give, it is not subtraction, it is circulation. You are not losing, you are allowing it to move, so it can return multiplied. You've been taught to fear the empty wallet, to dread the checkout line, to brace at the bill, but what if those were the moments that made you magnetic? What if touching money, even while paying, became your holiest moment? Because it can. Touching money doesn't have to trigger fear. It can trigger faith. Faith in the return. Faith in the source. Faith in who you are becoming with every dollar you release. So speak this when you spend. Every dollar I release returns to me in waves. What I send comes back blessed. What I give multiplies on the way. Again, every dollar I release returns to me in waves. What I send comes back blessed. What I give multiplies on the way. You are creating energetic residue. You are training your system to associate money with flow. Now, imagine this. Your child watches you pay a bill, and instead of sighing or tensing, you smile. You speak a blessing aloud. You show them that money is not a villain, that money is not to be feared, but to be directed. You model ease. You embody flow. And in that moment, you don't just heal yourself, you heal your lineage. That's how sacred this is. That's how deep it runs. You're not just changing your bank balance, you are changing the blueprint. Say this now. Every time I touch money, I heal a generation. I model peace. I pass down power. Feel the ripple. Feel the meaning. Feel the inheritance shift. Because what you do in secret echoes in the future, and what you bless now becomes the foundation for what they will believe is normal. Not panic, not lack, but ease, confidence, overflow. This is how wealth becomes generational, not through the number in your account, but through the peace in your voice. So touch money with reverence, speak over it with certainty, treat it as a student, not a master, and it will obey. There's a moment no one talks about, a quiet moment when you're alone, paying for something small, something ordinary, a bottle of water, a parking ticket, a monthly subscription you forgot to cancel, and in that moment, you feel it, that old ache, that quiet guilt, the whisper of, why does it always feel like I'm spending more than I have? But here's the truth. It's not the transaction that hurts, it's the belief behind it. You're not afraid of what you're paying. You're afraid it won't come back. You're afraid of the finality. You're afraid this is the last time money will visit you for a while. But what if? What if every transaction was a doorway? What if every dollar spent was a signal, not of decrease, but of divine trust? Because when you trust the source, you don't panic about the seed. You plant it, you water it, you expect it to grow. So today, and every day after, you declare, I don't spend, I circulate, I don't lose, I release, I don't fear, I activate. Every time your card touches the machine, you say it softly. Every time your hand opens to give, you remember who you are. Every time your finger taps confirm on a payment screen, you smile. Not because you're reckless, but because you are rooted in the truth that this energy was never yours to hoard. It was yours to move, to direct, to bless, to multiply through purpose. Touch your heart now. Feel the rise and fall. That is the same rhythm money follows. It flows with you when you breathe with it. It dances when you stop chasing. It expands when you stop clutching. So say this now with your hand over your heart. I touch money with love. I guide it with wisdom. I release it with joy. I welcome its return with faith. Again, I touch money with love. I guide it with wisdom. I release it with joy. I welcome its return with faith. This is the rhythm that creates riches, not noise, not urgency, not constant reaching, but sacred direction. There are energies that gather around you when you're aligned. Opportunities you couldn't plan, openings you didn't ask for, increase that doesn't make sense on paper, but they come. Not because you forced them, but because you made space for them. And how do you make space? By shifting your emotional climate every time you touch money, by turning the act into a blessing, by making every exchange an altar, by transforming the mundane into the miraculous. This is wealth redefined. This is prosperity in practice. So now, we'll create your new ritual, a set of phrases to whisper every time you engage with money. It doesn't matter how much, it doesn't matter where, it only matters how, with reverence, with rhythm, with readiness. Repeat after me. Money in my hand is not an end. It is a signal, a servant, a sacred carrier of intention. Money in my wallet is not a risk. It is a response, a reflection, a reinforcement of my readiness. Money in motion is never lost. It is in cycle. It is in grace. It is in God's hands. Let these phrases live in you. Let them be your emotional antibodies against fear, against lack, against the old script. And here's the beautiful twist. The more you practice this, the less it will be about money. Because you'll start to notice that same energy shows up when you give time, when you receive kindness, when you invest in yourself, when you forgive someone, when you rest without guilt. You'll begin to touch more than just money with this kind of blessing. You'll begin to touch life this way. Because wealth isn't about the number. It's about the nervous system behind the number. It's about the voice that greets the transaction, the posture that welcomes the provision, the story you tell when something is released and when something returns. So you say, I tell a better story now. I breathe a better rhythm now. I move with better frequency now. You are no longer the one who tenses at the till, who delays the joy, who apologizes for asking. You are the one who expects the increase, who welcomes the return, who moves in rhythm with something sacred. And when you touch money, you bless it. You remember, you multiply, not just because of what you say, but because of who you now are. There's a frequency underneath everything, under the words you speak, under the way you move, under the glance you give when the receipt prints. There is a frequency, and money has always responded to that. Not to effort, not to exhaustion, not even to perfect plans, but to the frequency that lives beneath your hands when they open and when they close. So now, let's tune your frequency to something unforgettable. Let's let every touch, every gesture, every moment with money be a tuning fork for overflow. Say this with me now. Every time I touch money, I align with abundance. Every time I touch money, I invite divine increase. Every time I touch money, I make room for more. Breathe, let your body absorb it. Let your cells hear it. Because this is the real work, not forcing, not chasing, but remembering that your hands are already worthy, that your voice already carries power, that the energy that multiplies money is not somewhere far away. It's already inside of you. Think back. How many times have you said, just enough? How many times have you prayed for bills to be covered, but never asked for ease, never claimed overflow, never believed in beauty beyond survival? But survival is not your destiny. Safety is not your ceiling. You were not born to calculate every step out of fear. You were born to move in rhythm with miracles. So say this now. I am no longer asking for scraps. I am no longer apologizing for ease. I am no longer shrinking my requests to match someone else's discomfort. I ask in alignment. I receive in peace. I multiply in grace. Again, but softer now. Let it sink into your roots. I ask in alignment. I receive in peace. I multiply in grace. This is your new baseline, your sacred ground, your internal economy. Money does not bless confusion. It waits for clarity. It waits for certainty. It waits for the one who will not flinch when the amount is larger than expected, when the opportunity feels bigger than their past, when the overflow arrives sooner than planned. So now you become that one. The one who doesn't flinch, the one who doesn't downplay, the one who says thank you instead of, are you sure? Because when you touch money now, you do so as someone who is ready, ready for the volume, ready for the velocity, ready for the responsibility of being richly resourced. You no longer touch money in passing, you pause, you breathe, you bless, you create a ripple that extends beyond the digits and into the divine. You say, this dollar will bless someone, this amount will circle back. This moment is not about loss, it is about expansion. That's the truth now, your truth. Because you're not chasing increase, you're carrying it. You're not praying for provision like a beggar, you're commanding it like a partner. You're not waiting to feel safe, you are declaring safety in your own voice, and the universe obeys that declaration. Now picture this. You're standing at a register. The cashier tells you the amount. You reach into your wallet, and your hand does not tremble. You feel peace. You feel alignment. You feel the rhythm of yes echoing through your spirit. You smile, you tap the card, or press the note into their palm, and inside you whisper, everything I give comes back greater. Everything I release grows. Everything I touch turns gold. Not because you're magic, but because you're aligned, and alignment is the real wealth. Your future self is already living this way. She blesses without fear. He gives without guilt. They receive without apology. They touch money like it's an old friend, not a threat, not a stranger, not a fleeting glimpse of security, but a partner, a reflection, a sacred conversation. So every time you touch money from now on, touch it as her, as him, as them, the future version of you, fully resourced, fully rested, fully ready. And in that touch, you collapse the timeline. You become her, you become him, you become them now. Every day you will touch money in digital form, in physical bills, in moments that seem insignificant, in rituals you once performed without thought. But now you perform them awake. Now you perform them as a vessel of divine circulation. Because money is not an interruption, it is not a chore, it is not a test, it is a tool. And in your hands, it becomes holy. So you build your new rhythm now. And it begins with remembrance. You remember who you are, the child of Source, the one chosen to carry the current, the one who has nothing to prove, only something to embody. You remember that touching money is never just about what leaves or arrives, but about what you transmit through your touch. So you touch with certainty, you touch with joy, you touch with alignment. Say this: every time I touch money, I return to truth. I recalibrate to source. I reset the frequency of overflow. That is your return. That is your ritual. That is your power. Let's say it again, slower, full breath, open heart. I reset the frequency of overflow. Say it until the old noise is quiet. Say it until your nervous system memorizes ease. Say it until touching money feels like touching light. Because that's what wealth becomes when handled in truth. Light. It illuminates, it expands, it moves where it is honored, and you are a master of honoring it now. This is the version of you that money wants to follow. Not the one who flinches, not the one who begs, not the one who apologizes for asking, but the one who receives like it's already done. The one who gives without activating fear, the one who multiplies by command, not by chaos. This version was always within you. You just needed permission to remember. And now that you have, you will not forget again. Because touching money is no longer neutral, it's sacred, it's layered, it's ritual, it's activation, and every time you engage with it, you send a message. So from this moment forward, every touch carries trust, every gesture holds power, every release speaks return, every investment carries vision, every giving opens gates, every receiving confirms readiness. This is how money grows. Not because you work harder, not because you obsess longer, not because you hustle better, but because you are clear. You are clean in your energy. You are consistent in your declaration. And so money multiplies, because multiplication obeys order. Multiplication follows divine command. Multiplication lives in you. So the next time you pay a bill, tip a server, swipe your card, withdraw cash, donate to someone in need, accept payment for your work, place money in someone else's hand, you say this silently, or out loud, or in your heart. Every time I touch money, it remembers who I am, and so do I. Again, every time I touch money, it remembers who I am, and so do I. And that is how you stop money from slipping through your fingers. You let it recognize your energy. You let it feel safe with you. You let it rest, multiply, and move through you like a trusted river, never blocked, never stolen, never stuck, only flowing, only blessed, only divine. Now breathe. Let your palms open gently in your lap. Let your breath slow, and speak this final rhythm, the seal of your shift. Wealth does not fear my touch, it is invited by it. I do not chase increase, I carry it. I do not hoard supply, I circulate it. I do not beg for abundance, I embody it. Every touch, every moment, every choice, I am magnetic to divine multiplication. Let silence hold that for a beat. Let spirit echo it back to you. Let the room shift. Let the air feel different. Let your next step carry this new imprint, because it's not about money anymore. It's about memory. And now, you remember.